We see changes in the strength of nations. We see great battleships become obsolete and the most modern aircraft replaced by missiles. We see shifts in steel production and in the flow of trade and the movement of gold. And we face an ever-changing stream of challenges from the powerful and malevolent forces of totalitarianism. Even last week, we saw press conferences in Moscow, which have made these same forces seem particularly malevolent at the present time. Indeed, they make us wonder whether the present Russian rulers are not influenced by one lesson which Russian history seems to teach, which is that in Russia the violent tyrant seems to die peacefully in bed, whereas the moderate and liberal reformer usually has a most unpleasant end. In any case, these recent developments should remind us that totalitarian aims do not and have not changed. And in this respect, these developments, disagreeable though they are, have at least one useful result. Through all these changes and alarms, the constant Anglo-American bond has endured. And people throughout the world who believe in human dignity and decency must welcome it and feel reassured by it and sleep better at night because of it.
This evening,
the American people applaud and share Britain's humane purposes in the world. Thereby, our partnership is strengthened still further because we know that in practical and creative ways, each of us serves the universal cause of justice and the dignity of man. Long after the malign forces of our era have passed into history, that good cause will still flourish among men of every race and continent.
Because it is fatally easy to assume that once the relations between our two countries have been nicely arranged, they can remain like that. This is a snare and a delusion. This business is like a garden. If you leave it to itself, weeds and confusion take over. And we can only have the right understanding if we make a conscious and continuing effort to get it. I think we all realize how much good can flow from an honest and an understanding friendship between the United States and the United Kingdom. But we ought at the same time to acknowledge that we must work for it. As Senator Lodge has already indicated, we are fortunate enough to be able to start with a good many things which make an understanding friendship easier to maintain. But I think you would be the first to admit that these advantages will not ensure friendship of themselves. We must turn these circumstances to our advantage by a deliberate effort. Needless to say, none of these things is going to prevent differences of opinion, tough bargaining, or uninhibited argument when the occasion arises. It does mean, however, that a proper understanding will prevent these differences from becoming an open rift or result in a loss of faith. Let's face it, it's much easier and it's also much safer to argue with a friend, because at least you know that his opinions are honestly held, and in the end it is no dishonor for either party to modify their opinions as a result of frank discussion. You cannot do this with someone you do not trust. The whole crux of this matter, therefore, lies in knowing both the similarities as well as the differences between our two countries. Now, and so, ladies and gentlemen, so long as the Pilgrims and the English-speaking unions continue to convince our two peoples in every walk of life that we really have the same intentions, and to look with tolerance upon the methods, you will be making a very necessary and a really worthwhile contribution to that peace and understanding which we all want to see established throughout the world. Thank you very much. Nice.